Hey, welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your host, Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about the Superstar Spectacle, which I actually watched, even though I kind of knew what it was going to be, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So, today, the show was in celebration of Republic Day in India, which is the day India became a republic. I wish I knew more information about it, but that's basically the gist of things. It was exactly as the Saudi shows and all of the other sort of cultural shows where all of the Indians were baby faces, with the exception of the guys of Indian descent, quote unquote, which would be Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood boys. But it was an opportunity to see some of the guys they have in the performance center that are Indian, and man, oh man, there's there's a lot of stuff going on down there. There's a lot of stuff going on down there. So we start the show with Triple H giving us a narration of India's importance to the WWE universe, which is a good thing. Talk about India as the heartbeat of the WWE universe and all the lovely Indian fans. And we see clips of WWE in India over the last couple of years. And so the first match was Finn Balor versus Guru Raj. Guru Raj is supposedly the first ever Indian high flyer or something. I don't even understand how they come to that understanding, but they did a background. Again, all the Indians are baby faces. That doesn't necessarily mean that their opponents are heels, because Finn Balor didn't work heel in this match. He just was the guy going against Guru Raj. And this match wasn't about Finn Balor at all. This match was not about any of the other guys. It was about, showing off the Indians. So Guru Raj told a story about him being a really good athlete, despite having a bad childhood. And of course, we kept hearing about, this is my dream, this is my dream. It's not just the Indians. It's just, I'm tired of hearing about people's dreams. Guru Raj, his strikes was okay. They talked about him getting trapped under a tractor when he was a kid and he almost died. And then they also talked about him getting ran over by a cow. I was like, God damn. Like, he had a treacherous life. Dude. But he also has a relatable story, because he talked about, of course, being poor as growing up, and he wanted to buy his parents a house with air conditioning. And that should say a lot. That, for him, a luxury is air conditioning. I remember not having air conditioning when I was a kid. I also remember not having heat in the winter, and I stayed in Detroit. And you had some of them Detroit winters in the early to mid '90s. Boy, oh boy, I was sleeping in jackets. So I can definitely relate. Even though it wasn't much about Balor. Balor obviously just won the match. But Guru Raj was okay. He was a little generic. I think most of they haven't worked on their personalities yet. They're just basically showing off what they can do. They haven't built a personality for anybody yet, other than Indus Sher. They haven't really put together all of the pieces yet. But Guru Raj was okay. He's just a little generic. The next match was Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Dil Shanky, and the Giant Zangier versus Dolph Ziggler, King Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. So this obviously was recorded before Shinsuke Nakamura turned babyface. It was also recorded before. It was something that happened later, took place. I think I'll remember when I see it, but Nakamura had his babyface theme, but he was on the heel team in this match. So, which is weird, right? So, Dil Shanky, both Dil Shanky and Giant Zangier were both trained by the great Khali. One is 7 foot tall, that's the Dil Shanky, and the Giant Zangier is 7'2". These dudes are huge. Like, they're massive individuals, man. Like, these are some big guys. And Dil Shanky was in Bollywood movies, and he was, he's of course doing this for his parents. And Dil Shanky, and this was a huge mistake on their part. I said this when AEW did it. I'm not gonna back down here. They told me that Dil Shanky, this guy who was 7 feet tall, they told me he was an accountant in India. He was an accountant. I was like, do I really need to see this giant man in a suit fucking around with Excel spreadsheets? Do I really need to have that visual in my head? No. Like, I want to, like, it's bad enough he's a 7 foot baby face. Like, that's already strange. And he's bigger than everybody on the other team. by himself. But then he also has a giant partner. So uh, they started out with Shanky and Ziggler, which was a good choice to show off how Shanky, is just so big and that he doesn't really have to move unless he wants to move. Because Dolph's really sold well for him. The giant Zangier, he said he had to be the man of the house because his parents died when he was young. Seeing the great Khali as the champion inspired him to pursue pro wrestling. Both of them have been in the Performance Center since 2019, I believe. They were founded in 2019 tryouts. So they basically got to show off what they can do, and they actually, did some stuff with, Ray and Ricochet did most of the work. They basically wrestled around these guys. That's kind of what they did in a lot of the tag team matches, is they essentially wrestled around some of the weaknesses of the actual Indian talent. So, but Ray did the face and peril thing. Ricochet did the hot tag. The Giants kept it basically basic. They kept it real basic. Shoulder tackles, chops, stuff like that. Power moves, body slams, basic stuff. Rey Mysterio was the finish came from Rey Mysterio doing 619 and then standing on Dilshad Shanky's shoulders, similar to what he used to do with the Big Show. So that was pretty cool. That was the finish. Zangier bench pressed Ricochet and tossed him onto the heels, to the stack of heels outside the ring. And during this, they didn't stop with the cringe information. They told me that Giant Zangier, was he idolized Triple H, The Rock, and Stephanie McMahon. And I paused the screen. I legit paused it to laugh, because I said to myself, there ain't no way. There is no way I'm buying that. I am not buying that at all. I have a hard time of seeing some giant dude sitting there and it's like, Stephanie McMahon, I wish I could be like her. No. And then if that was true, I wouldn't tell anybody. You're trying to get these guys over. What are you doing? So they talked about the Girl Up Scholarship Fund. India is cucked. We already know that. The Roman Reigns did a spot where he talked about it's his responsibility to feed not just the SmackDown roster, but every wrestler who touches the WWE ring. But that comes with a price tag, but you're not going to figure out what that price tag is tonight. Then we got to see what was probably the best match of the night. AJ Styles versus Jeet Rama. Now, Jeet Rama is... he's a national champion. He wrestles Kushti. He has won the big trophy 3 times. They did a poor job explaining what it is. They explain what Kushti is pretty well. They did a poor job of explaining how important this was. But they did say like he's pretty much a national hero. That he's looked upon pretty highly in India, and that he was talking about sending you to Jeet Street after you get beat by Jeet. And I was like, okay, all right. But Jeet Rama works kind of like a Steiner brother or like Taz. Like he works like a shooter, like Kurt Angle. A lot of suplexes, very methodical on body parts, good grappling, stuff like that. He's got a future. He needs to work on, obviously, like his intensity. His selling was actually pretty good too. Like he's in the calf crusher, he was actually not that bad. He had some of the best selling of the night. So it was legit. Like this match with AJ Styles was pretty legit. Almost actually helped him win because Styles was like he was about to lose. So he was about to be a suplex from the top rope. Then almost grabbed Styles' tights. Jeet pulled. He fell back. Then the phenomenal forearm, and then pinfall. But this was legit pretty good. Jeet Rama is a guy. They obviously like him. That's why he gave him a singles match, and he has some potential. He's got some stuff to work on. I don't know how long he's been in a performance center, but he's got some stuff to work on. But it was legit good. It was legit fun. We got a promo package on Indu Sher, and Ranku is one of the guys that played baseball, first ever baseball player from India. They talk about it during the match that he actually won some kind of contest to be a baseball player in India. I think $1 Million Arm they called it. Saurav was a Bollywood star. He had been in movies and TV shows. He said they when they first met, they didn't know each other, but then they became like brothers, being tag team. Riku has perfect English. That's a good start. That's a good start. His English is perfect, and he doesn't even talk with an accent. So maybe Indu Share is just the beginning for him. But they did a package also on Kavita Devi, who was in the Mae Young Classic. She was also in the Women's Battle Royal. She was in India, so therefore she was not on this show, but they did a package on her. Basically, she's the power of billions. I don't know how many. I'll never forget how many people are in India now. They kept talking about the 1.3 billion Indians. But she was in India, so therefore she couldn't be on the show, but she was a power lifter. Member of the first ever woman signed by WWE of Indian descent, so, or well, the first Indian woman. Then Xavier Woods and Big E, along with the Street Profits, were introduced Spinning Canvas, which was the Bollywood, I guess you would call it the Bollywood style performance with the dancing and the drums and the flutes and all that stuff. It was legit good. It was legit dope. And I was thinking during this whole thing, I was thinking of something I saw. I believe it was on a VH1 show, and it was RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, and he was talking about how, and this was like years ago. He was talking about watching wrestling as a kid, and he's like, I never would have known what a Samoan was if I had never watched wrestling. It's like and now you say it like, I'll never forget that. That was a long, long time ago, because I've thought that a lot. I've thought, a lot about how wrestling has introduced me to other cultures, other societies, how they do things. And, just in the last couple of years, we got to see, we got to go to Saudi Arabia. They also went to Japan. Japan, you can go to Japan all the time because of, New Japan Pro Wrestling. But a culture like India, I don't know that much about it. So it was good to see, how, they had their holidays and what their holidays means, and then to see the cultural dancing and all that type of stuff. That was really legit dope, and that's kind of why I don't really like, these shows aren't for us, and they're not for Americans. They're for the people that they say that they're for. But I don't know, like, it was strange, but I did enjoy this Spinning Canvas thing. It was pretty dope. But I just thought about that as I was watching this. Like, RZA was talking about how he had never seen a Fijian before. He didn't know what that was. He didn't know what a Samoan was. And I remember being a kid having the same thing. That's how you get away with Yokozuna being Japanese. It's because nobody knows what a Samoan is, Like, what is that? What is a Fijian? What is that? I also didn't know what a Belgian was. I believe that's what, what's the name? Ludwig Borga. I think he was Belgian. I had no idea what that was. Being a kid, you didn't know anything about these countries and these cultures and these ideas. And WWE especially introduces you to them in a very interesting way. And of course, it's very, very surface level, but that's enough for people who have never seen it before to actually get it and to be able to understand it. So we get some words from the great Khali, wishing everybody a National Happy Republic Day, and they are trying their hardest to make the great Khali the giant Baba of India. Like, how everybody talks about giant Baba in Japan, I imagine in my head that's how the great Khali is in India. I know I have at least one Indian subscriber. Maybe if he listens to this, he can tell me about the great Khali's influence. But it seems like the great Khali trained a lot of these people. He's also a WWE ambassador in India, I believe. He may actually be like the giant Baba of India. But that's the vibe I got. I always got the vibe like, they really want the great Khali to be the giant Baba of India. Okay, but the next match was Charlotte Flair and Serena Sandhu versus Bayley and Natalya. Sandhu is she's first generation American. She's from California. She trained in Muay Thai and kickboxing. She was actually trained by the same trainer as Bayley, which explains why Bayley was in this match. She's currently a nursing student, and she spends her, I think she said she spends her some time in India with her grandparents. She did a real cringe dance with Charlotte after they bumped the heels once, and I was just like, oh no, the last thing we need is, like, I like the whole cultural shifting, back and forth. The last thing I needed to see was Charlotte doing Indian dances. I didn't need that, because I already know if I look on Twitter that GIF is there. I already know it's there. This was another match where basically they wrestled around the Indian. They didn't let her do much. Like Serena Sandu did something. She did some stuff. Her arm drags actually looked pretty good. So and she countered. She countered something that looked pretty good too. But her offense wasn't bad. She needs to work on her selling though. Obviously, the selling is the acting part of it. That's that's what they need to work on. Like you get the athletics down, but the acting part is what really kind of misses people up because there's so much that goes into wrestling. It is acting and athletics, so you have to do both. So Sandu was in the sharpshooter, and Charlotte did natural selection to break the hold, and Sandu just pinned Natalia. So Sandu actually got the pinfall, but she didn't actually do anything to get it. She just kind of refrained from tapping out. So that was fine. And they basically wrestled around Sandu. So the main event was Drew McIntyre and Indus Sher versus Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys. I learned that Indus Sher means the Indian Tigers. It means Indian Tigers, which is pretty cool. Ric Flair introduced them. He was being the ambassador for the evening. He gave everybody a nice Happy Republic Day, and that was all nice and good of him. Then Jinder Mahal came out and said that we should be celebrating his return, and that the 1.3 billion will turn into their homes, turn into TV to see him. So then, Drew McIntyre came out and said he was happy to see Jinder Mahal. But this isn't about gender. This is about WWE. This is about India. This is about the superstar spectacle, mate. So then he says that he's going to introduce his own 3-man band of destruction, which is him and Indus Sher. So we see that Jinder Mahal has a new haircut. It's very low. He also did not do that much in this match. I thought that maybe he wasn't 100% because he didn't start bumping until near the end of the match. They actually avoided putting Jinder into the match for most of it. I guess that they weren't trying to give anything away, but they basically let the Bollywood Boys go in there and bump around for Indus Sher. McIntyre didn't do that much either. So it's basically the Bollywood Boys versus Indus Sher, with Mahal coming in from time to time and McIntyre coming in from time to time. So the Bollywood Boys, of course, they were bumping their asses off, which is really good. They're really good at bumping and selling for guys because they're small. So, and of course, they went back to the old act of Mahal berating them for their incompetence and being fuck ups and stuff like that. One of the times where Mahal and McIntyre were in the ring together, they were going to do the Claymore, and Jinder Mahal countered it with a knee strike, which is pretty cool. Later, he actually did hit the Claymore to knock Mahal out of the match, and Indus Sher pinned one of the Bollywood Boys with their finish, which was a sidewalk slam plus an elbow drop from the second rope. Similar, I think I had seen some teams do it before. I think it was similar to Demolition's finish, except for it wasn't a backbreaker. At least I'm pretty sure it was Demolition. But I think it was similar to Demolition's finish. But it was fine, Nothing too offensive took place. Nothing. If you didn't watch it, you didn't miss anything. If you did watch it, then I'm pretty sure you probably got like, oh my god, it was completely non-canon. There was no stories. It was just basically a showcase for the Indian talent and a big, thank you to all the Indians and promoting the Performance Center in India so they can have NXT India. That was pretty much what it was. So if you didn't watch it and you listened to me, that's pretty much what it was. Jeet Rama versus AJ Styles was fine. The main event was fine too, but there was nothing must see on this show. I personally think the Jeet Rama match and the spinning canvas stuff was the best stuff on here. Indus Sher is pretty good. They're and I kept saying to myself, like, which one of these idiots spoiled the Great American Bash? That's because one I kept thinking of. That's all I kept thinking of is which one of these dummies decided to take a picture of Keith Lee with the North American title and the NXT title and put it online. Which one of you was it? I don't think I ever took the time to look and see which one of them did it. But I just could not stop laughing at that because it's so stupid. It was so stupid. But hopefully the Indian fans loved it, or the Indian fans liked it. Hopefully they enjoyed it. But It was okay as far as I'm concerned. It was another. It was kind of like one of the first Saudi shows for me, where it was mostly about for the people that were there, not necessarily for me. I just get a chance to watch it, which is fine for me, because that's kind of how some shows are, where they don't entirely cater to you as a particular in the audience, but they're doing it for. And you had the WWE Thunderdome was mostly Indian fans, so it all worked out. But let me know what you guys thought if you watched it. Spread the good word of 3Count Commentaries by using the hashtag 3Count Commentaries. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.